This episode is sponsored by Anker SOLIX X1. Welcome back to our home renovation remodel kitchen build-out part of the series thing. Back to the island. So the last couple episodes of the island, last time we did the island, we did this leg assembly here, and then 2 times ago, I guess, or whatever, the first episode on the island was making these end panels here, and this time I'm hoping to have the island cabinetry built out, this leg assembly connection completed, and ready to go. So we're going to start, let me just kind of walk you through with what's happening primarily down here with the cabinetry section. This section here is an open seating section, so all it's going to have is just the support rails that connect it to the end panel and support the countertop. But let me show you the layout here for the cabinetry section. So on this side, facing the range, which the range will be in this hole here, we have some cabinetry. We have a bank of 3 drawers, and then we have a door and then a single drawer on top. So that's going to go in this area. Pretty basic standard cabinet section. Going to be pretty similar to the other ones. And then if you come around to the other side, it's a little more interesting. So on this side, the entire front is going to read like paneling. So you can see it's just this paneled look of boards on here. It's going to look very similar to this. It'll just be a V-groove paneling on here. And on this side, we have this refrigerator freezer unit with drawers. That is a panel ready, so that paneling will get applied directly to the face of this thing, and this will blend in. And then next to it, we have a drawer with a door with some pull-out bins behind it. And again, those 2 pieces here will just read like paneling. So on this side, the only real face frame we're going to have to make is this bottom rail and this top rail right here. So that's this section of the cabinet. That's what we're going to be doing. So let's head down to the shop and start making some boxes to go somewhere in this area here. Oh, we also have this. We got a vent coming out that toe kick down there. So there's a few things going on in this little section of cabinetry, which will have to all fit perfectly. So the first thing I want to do for stock selection is actually not in the cabinetry. This is the stock for the long rails that'll connect the leg assembly to the cabinetry. So that'll be this rail here, which connects the leg to the cabinet. And back when we broke down the stock for the end panels, I cut this chunk out of slab number 5, and that's going to give me the 2 long rails for this. Why I want to do this now is because I'm going to be making most of the face frame stock from all of the offcuts and things, and this is the longest piece I'll have, so I want to get the offcuts from this so I can possibly get some of my long rails for this cabinet here from some of the scrap from this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and start processing this down. You know, one thing you might question is, like, does the rail really need to be coming out of a piece of 10-quarter and finish at like 2 inches thick or something? The answer is probably not. This is going to be way overbuilt than most common islands you'd find in most people's homes, but I have the stock, so I might as well, I guess, go to that full thickness. And it'll just give it more of a beefy look if you ever happen to like lay down underneath the counter and look up at it. Otherwise, I don't think you'll be able to tell that this is like more than just a piece of 3/4 inch thick stock. So my rail stock would be from the end. I can kind of chop off this knot area where things get kind of weird and narrow. My top rail is 1 3/4 inch tall, so I can resaw this into 1 piece, and that'll be my top rail. Then the other 2 are 1 inch tall, so I should be able to resaw 2 pieces out of here and then split the back one to give me 2 pieces back there and 1 piece in the front, and that should be all of my long rail stock. And then I can go find all of the shorter rails and moles out of the other offcuts I have. So everything comes from the same tree. So I did have quite enough thickness to get both pieces out of this offcut. So what we're going to do is that this one that's a little too thin, that's going to become the top rail We'll get this plane down to whatever it ends up being, probably like a 1/2 inch, and then we'll laminate another piece onto it to get the full thickness, but we'll still have the same color and grain pattern on the face as we do for the rest of the parts. And the first one I cut, I'll just rip in two, and that'll be both my mid rail and then my lower rail. Anker SOLIX has launched their newest power innovation, their Anker SOLIX X1. The X1 provides a groundbreaking home energy storage solution, ensuring uninterrupted power to keep your home operating seamlessly. When severe weather is on the horizon, Storm Guard mode kicks in automatically for ultimate protection. And if the power does go out, the X1 will seamlessly transition in under 20 milliseconds. During power outages, the X1 can efficiently power high-energy appliances such as air conditioners and washing machines at 1.1 times its rated output. Plus, even in prolonged outages, your solar panels can keep charging the X1, making your home self-sustainable with solar power. Anker SOLIX X1 is an AC coupled solution, so there's no compatibility issues if you have existing solar panels. The X1 performs seamlessly in temperatures spanning from -4 degrees Fahrenheit to 131 degrees Fahrenheit, guaranteeing year-round reliability. More so, the X1 features a modular design, allowing it to be tailored to different energy demand situations without paying for excess storage, and with this minimalist design, 40% thinner than traditional systems, it fits seamlessly into any home. Each battery module comes with an innovative energy optimizer, allowing individual batteries to charge and discharge independently, eliminating capacity loss. You can switch between 3 modes for smart energy management on the Anker app. The first mode is self-powered, which maximizes green energy use. Time of use mode allows the X1 to charge when the electricity price is low, so that you can utilize the stored electricity in the X1 when the grid electricity price is higher. And for people who live in California, NEM 3.0 mode allows consumers to sell electricity as fast as possible when the price is high. Transform and power your home to the extreme with the Anker SOLIX X1, delivering ample energy, savings, and earnings even in extreme conditions. Discover the perfect package tailored to your needs and never worry about power outages again. Don't wait. Register via the link below for an exclusive offer. Thank you, Anker SOLIX, for sponsoring this video. So for this partition panel here, I'm doing something a little different. I put this 3-inch wide piece of white oak edge banding on here for two reasons. First off is I had this offcut that was just a little too narrow to do the whole thing, so I can add a little material here. And now it's wide enough to work, and I can use up this scrap piece. The second reason is that as these drawers open, you'll kind of see a little bit into the cavity around like the side of the fridge unit. So on this side you'll see white oak because that's what the leg is. On this side I want to see something a little more interesting than just a piece of maple edge banding on some plywood. So this being here, when you open the drawers, you'll see more of the white oak experience, I guess. And of course on this one, the drawers in this unit are full overlay onto this edge, I guess, because that paneling is going to be continuous across the front here. So you won't see this when the drawers are closed. So I'm going to cut this one to final size, and then that is basically all of the plywood components for the case. Then I'll go through and do all of my dominoes, my pocket holes, and all of that, and we'll do a basically a full assembly, make sure everything is gonna work out as it should. the hell? So there is the dry assembled cabinet unit. I don't have all the screws in everywhere yet. This was more just to kind of hold things together at this point, make sure it's all going to fit together. So I have been kind of working along. I have a few things that I'll tweak once this thing comes apart again that I have made note of, but nothing too major, and it's kind of looking like it's actually, you know, supposed to look. Well, one interesting thing that I'll mention, and one problem I had that was super annoying and persistent until I realized what the issue was, is that I could not figure out why this thing was coming out of square. All of my squares were reading some kind of weird geometry shape as I was trying to get the thing squared and racked and everything. And what ended up being is that the bottom was just sagging. The squares were telling me that the case was somehow flared up and out, but just because the bottom had a big curve in it, and that was causing the square to basically sit like that and make it look super exaggerated. So I put one of those adjustable feet under there, straightened out that bottom panel, took the sag out of it, and then everything magically worked. It's just sometimes like these can lie to you because whatever they're referencing off of might not be straight. So just something to keep in mind, especially a piece of plywood that's like 4 feet wide. It'll do one of these under its own weight. Just enough to make that square just exaggerated out just enough. So with that out of the way, next I can start working on getting that leg assembly attached to the right side. And I have all my rail stock here that's ready to go. I'm gonna put 2 intermediate rails in there. So I got those 2 pieces, which are just glued up out of some scraps. And then back in the first one, or the first island video where we did the end panels, I prepped these pieces of rails, so they're ready to go as well. I'm gonna mill these up and get them cut to length because we're gonna move that island assembly over here in front of the miter saw, and it's gonna be in the way of being able to machine all this. So quite a bit of progress this time. This island is basically done as far as building it goes and getting it figured out. And we can finally see the finished scale of this thing. It's quite big, which I'm excited for. There's a lot of space, empty dead space up there in the kitchen right now. This is going to fill it out really nicely. So next time we'll get into the finishing and assembly. We're going to pre-finish basically the whole thing, and we'll do some sub-assemblies, and then we'll do the final assembly up there in the kitchen, so we don't have to try and carry this whole thing into the house in one piece. So pre-finishing, some assembly, some more assembly, and then some setting and scribing and all that. So that's going to do it for this one. Thank you as always for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments about this giant kitchen island thing or anything here in the shop, please feel free to leave a comment. As always, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. And until next time, happy woodworking.